Welcome to episode 27 of And No. Today, I want to dig deep into the theme of disappointment. I feel like I should have like an Eeyore costume on or change my voice a little bit with that kind of introduction. But disappointment, I mean, it's a downer of a subject, but disappointment happens. I know that it's hard sometimes to talk about these things because sometimes we are disappointed in ourselves. Sometimes we're disappointed in the circumstances we find ourselves in. Sometimes we are disappointed in strangers and sometimes even those close to us. Navigating how we feel is one thing, but then there's also our reaction to when we feel disappointment. What does the Bible say about disappointment? Actually, a lot. In fact, there are a lot of books in the Bible that deal with the topic of disappointment. In the Old Testament, we've got Sarah, who experienced terrible disappointment with the inability to conceive and have a family. Then there's King David, who actually laments over his mistakes, knowing that he has disappointed many with his choices, including God. And then there's Moses, the leader who brought the Israelites out of Egypt with the goal of bringing them into the promised land, only to never enter this land himself. In the New Testament, well, let's look at Peter, who Jesus called out beforehand, knowing that Peter would deny him. Luke 22, verses 61 and 62 say this, "And the Lord turned and looked at Peter. And Peter remembered the saying of the Lord, how he had said to him, 'Before the rooster crows today, you will deny me 3 times.' And he went out and wept bitterly." That's a feeling of disappointment. Then there's Mary and Martha, who dealt with the disappointment in Jesus when their brother, one of Jesus's closest friends, died because they knew Jesus could have healed him. I mean, the story ends up pretty incredible in that Jesus brings Lazarus back from the dead, but at the time of his death, they weren't all that happy with him. God gets our disappointment. If you and I were having coffee together and I would ask you, what's disappointed you this last week? I'd venture to say that you could probably give me a pretty good list. I know that I could give you a list. Disappointments happen to us all the time. Sometimes they are small and meaningless, but if you add up those small ones, they kind of can have a pretty big impact. And then there are big disappointments, the times when we are rattled, altered, saddened, ashamed, frustrated. What does God say about that? In the examples I shared above, there's not really a common thread between them. For Sarah, her inability to have a family was out of her control. King David, his was completely in his control. He was really terrible at making wise decisions at times. Peter's denial was due to extreme fear. Mary and Martha, their disappointment was due to extreme sadness. So, is there a thread that anyone with disappointment feels? The definition of disappointment is this: it's the sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. I'll say that again. The definition of disappointment is the sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. In other words, we're sad because we're not satisfied. Take, for example, a friendship that's been disappointing. Expectations or wants for what we long for leave us disappointed because we're not satisfied with the connection that we are trying to have. What about a job that's leaving you wanting more? It's leaving you dissatisfied. At the end, though, the definition says the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. So how can we navigate best in this life if our hopes and expectations just aren't always met? We can't eliminate being disappointed, but we can focus on what we do when we are disappointed. How do we handle it when we're left feeling really sad because what we hoped for just isn't happening? Something that has helped me is that I do try to take a step back and see if maybe there's a bigger picture. Now, I don't always do this, But when I'm feeling mature and I've got my big girl pants on, I do try to take a step back and see if there's a bigger picture here. Or maybe there's a part of a story that I just don't understand. I try to make me small and those around me big. A phrase that I've been using a lot lately is, what is my posture? But a more important question is, and the one that I really should be asking is, what's God's plan here? Or even, what's his purpose? When I focus less on me and more on him, not only do I get a way better perspective, but I also get the help that he is so freely giving. Isaiah 41:10 says this, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And know this, remember that the key in the definition of being disappointed is non-fulfillment. Isaiah is reminding us in this verse that I just read that he will strengthen, that God will help, that he will uphold. We can be disappointed in others and even in ourselves. We can be disappointed in what life is giving us. But we are not Eeyores wandering aimlessly about with no hope or comfort. Yeah, life can be really disappointing. And if you are experiencing that right now, I'm sorry that you're going through whatever it is that you're dealing with. Truly, I mean that. Life can be really hard. But my hope is that in the midst of all of what you're going through, that you are able to seek comfort from the one who sees you, all of you. Take a listen to this beautiful promise in the Psalms. Psalm 94:18 and 19. When I thought, my foot slips, your steadfast love, O Lord, help me up. When the cares of my heart are many, your consolations cheer my soul. Take refuge in him, my friend. And I hope that today's podcast was a blessing to you. I'll see you next week.